Hey everyone, so the new Liveletter hit a bit ago, and I may be a little late coming out with this, but better late than never, right? So this isn't going to be a full recap, but more of a what has me really excited, because they announced some really cool things. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is they want to make the game more solo friendly. I mean, I thought the game was already pretty solo friendly, but they are going to make it even more so. And one of the ways they will do this is by expanding the trust system to all of the dungeons, you know, over the course of the next couple of patches. The trust system, in case you didn't know, it is basically a way to run dungeons with computer-controlled NPCs, so you know, you don't have to group with other players. And I think this is an awesome move that will open the game up to so many more players. There are a lot of Final Fantasy fans that will not play Final Fantasy XIV because it is an MMO. And I think that is a huge shame because Final Fantasy XIV is one of the best Final Fantasy games released in years. The story, the characters, the world, it's all top shelf stuff. Furthermore, I think the trust system is also a great way to get these single player gamers more into the MMO mindset. This is because I think the trust act as a great learning tool that teach the players their role in the party and how to do the mechanics, you know, by watching the trust execute them. You know, I know players that never played an MMO before 14, and 14 turned them into real MMO fans. The hard part is convincing gamers who never played or liked an MMO before, you know, to give 14 a chance. And I see this as a big win-win. They want more players to experience the game, and this is a great way to reel them in. And I think Final Fantasy XIV is such a good game that it could easily convert single-player Final Fantasy fans into full-fledged MMO gamers. So the other announcement that had me hyped is the graphics overhaul. Just to reiterate a point made by Yoshida multiple times, the graphics will not be as high fidelity as a standalone Final Fantasy game. I think that would be an unrealistic expectation, and was one of the main reasons Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 had so many issues. They were trying to make the graphics like it was a single player game, and we all saw how that worked out. Anyways, there were several areas where the graphics are being overhauled, so let's start at the beginning with the character models. And a quick note, these are all works in progress, so I imagine what we will see later on will look even better. So what really popped out to me with the new models is that the eyes look so much more detailed and vibrant. Now, I think that the hair is a bit off, especially when we look at this picture. It looks weird, right? But hey, it's a work in progress, so you know, take that with a grain of salt. And it does look a lot better than it did before. It's also not in motion, so that could also factor some. Overall, the hair does look better, and I am excited to see it in game. The shading and lighting also adds a ton to how good these look. Anyways, I think what they really got right here is that the characters don't look completely different. That could have been a disaster. If they upgraded the models, and suddenly you don't recognize the character you made, well, that could really suck. That actually happened to me in World of Warcraft, when they did their big model update, and I honestly couldn't stand playing that character anymore. And I'm just glad it doesn't seem to be the case here. So they are also doing an overhaul on the lighting and shading in the game. The big example they used was the battleground for Titania. The amount of detail that was hard to make out before is highlighted so well here. The stained glass windows, the detailing in the carpet coming down the stairs, the amount of detail in the columns, I was just blown away. And as you can see, the shadows are also much improved. You can clearly see on the left that Titania's shadow is, you know, more of an amorphous blob, and on the right, well, it's much more detailed. And they are also increasing the detailing on the textures, more specifically, the metal textures. The example they showed was quite the spectacle. It looks so much more shiny and reflective, and I, for one, cannot wait to see what this is like in game. By the way, they mentioned that they cranked the dial to 11 to really showcase the new lighting and metal textures, and that in the finished product, it won't be nearly this extravagant. Honestly, I think the metal textures that they showed looked amazing as is. It's gold, and it's opulent. It should be, like, that ridiculous. But I could also see how lighting going overboard could really destroy an atmosphere. And they are also increasing the amount of objects that can be displayed on the screen, and they showed a bit of Thavanir to really drive the point home, and wow, this looks so much better. It's like a completely different area. I just love how the stairs look, how it has that uneven look and all those different textures that really make it pop. Not to mention all the added fauna, and the fact that the sand looks amazing, and all those objects that they added really make it look like a lived-in place. This makes me very excited to see how they will implement this in other areas and zones. But the graphic overhaul that had me the most excited is they are upgrading the grass textures. And the example they showed looked fantastic. There is one zone in mind, in Endwalker, that I cannot wait to see with a more high resolution grass texture. Now, just to be clear, this is not the finished product, this is what they are aiming for. It might not look that way, but if they can get it close to that, I would be pretty happy. And I saved what I think is the best for last, because this is something I am just over the moon for. They are introducing a new type of dungeon that they named Criterion Dungeons. Now, the name is just a placeholder, but I think it's a pretty cool name. They didn't say much about these, but they are dungeons that you can tackle with between 1 to 4 players, and they are meant to be a challenging dungeoning experience. And the dungeon difficulty will scale with the amount of players in the party, and I just hope that they can get the scaling correct. I've seen it done very poorly in other games that I shall not mention. And it looks like the first Criterion dungeon is slated for a 6.2 release, and they will also add 2 more Criterion dungeons before 7.0. And they are also adding a new deep dungeon in 6.3. So, smaller, challenging group content is on its way, and I couldn't be happier for that. So, that was pretty much everything that got me excited in this most recent live letter. I am also really looking forward to the island sanctuaries, but they really didn't give us much detail on that, only that it should be coming in 6.2. The Alliance raid is also something I am very interested in, but yet again, they barely said anything about it. So, what has you most excited for the upcoming patches? Was it anything that I mentioned? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, and until next time, take care.